Welcome to Las Vegas. Well, not exactly Las Vegas. Right now I'm just outside of Las Vegas at Red Rock Canyon, which is about 30 minutes outside of Las Vegas, and you can see the beautiful scenery around me. I've been in Vegas for the past week or so, and over the past couple of days I rented this BMW 3 Series to do some exploring, driving up and down the strip a little bit and then exploring a little bit of the surrounding area. I wanted to talk a little bit about what it's like to drive around Las Vegas, drive around Nevada, how it's similar to driving in Florida, some of the differences that I mentioned, between Florida and other states essentially, and driving in Europe. So I'm gonna cover a little bit of that today. So let's go for a drive. So I picked up this BMW 3 Series from Six Rental here in Las Vegas. It's kind of funny to have something somewhat familiar to what I'm used to back home, yet it's still pretty different. So yes, it's a 330i as well. The powertrain's the same. Interior features are a bit different. Of course, the US specs are a little bit different, and it's a sedan, not a wagon like mine. But it's kind of nice to drive a BMW here in the US and kind of feel how it drives on wide American roads. What I can tell you, what has been nice, is instead of driving an SUV, this thing is awesome to just dart around in between traffic and kind of make your way through, something like the Las Vegas Strip a little bit easier than driving around a big bulky vehicle. And then this morning I've been driving on some beautiful canyon roads around here. Not super windy, but it's been really nice to have a sporty sedan to drive around on these roads. So driving in Las Vegas, and let's say driving in Nevada in general, driving in the States, when you go from state to state, isn't very different. It's mostly the same. There are certain nuances in, the Northeast or, in the West in California with certain differences in rules. Generally speaking, driving from one state to the other is the same. I haven't never driven in Nevada before, and so there's a lot of different nuances with the roads and with driving here that I noticed, and I thought I would mention in this video. So first, let's talk about driving in Las Vegas and driving on the Strip. I thought that was so cool, something I've always wanted to do. Now, driving on the Strip, you're not going very fast. It's more just for the experience of kind of seeing all of the lights and seeing all of the attractions. It's actually a bit distracting, to be honest, but it's a slow-moving road, very wide, relatively easy to drive on. So I enjoyed that. Now, my first time in Vegas, actually, there's a lot, it's bigger than you think. So, you're doing a lot of walking. There's these massive pedestrian bridges to cross these massive roads, these massive hotels. It really exceeded my expectations with how huge Las Vegas is, in the Strip specifically. So the first few days I didn't have a car. I was using taxis and kind of walking around. But, past couple days I picked up this car and drove on the Strip a few times, and even drove to the downtown, the old Las Vegas. And it's actually pretty easy to have a car around here. You just have to be prepared to pay for parking. But of course, here in the US, it's very car friendly. So it's easy to find a parking garage, park, at my hotel, park at, the downtown Vegas. There's plenty of parking. You just have to pay for it. While driving around Las Vegas and around, the surrounding area, I've noticed something that's a bit strange that I haven't really seen. Maybe it exists in other states out here, but there's not really lane markings on the road. There are these little reflector things that they use basically in substitution of lane markings in some cases. So you can kind of see some examples here. Now, in some cases, like the road I'm driving on right now has lane markings, but in other cases, it's just those little pop-up reflector things. And those are really annoying to drive over. They're really bumpy and really loud and kind of jarring. I suspect that they don't use a lot of lane marking lines because of the extreme heat here in this desert climate in the summertime. I mean, temperatures exceed, 100 and something degrees Fahrenheit, maybe close to 40 degrees Celsius. Black asphalt, those lines are probably just peeling off. So I think that's why they use these lane markings, but it's really difficult to spot the lanes and see the lane markings sometimes. So that's been a bit annoying here. Speaking of the roads and the quality of the roads, sometimes they're pretty smooth. Like this road I'm driving on is actually okay. There's a lot of construction going on near the Strip, so there were some quite bumpy roads, but even where there wasn't construction outside of the Vegas area, some of the roads were quite bumpy. I was a bit disappointed in that. I think it's probably due to the extreme heat. In the summertime, that asphalt probably cracks. Here, it's winter time now, so it also gets pretty cold. So, maybe the great fluctuations in temperature, the asphalt doesn't like that and it cracks a lot. I can tell you, driving in a sporty sedan, you feel those bumps a lot. So I kind of understand why people drive SUVs and things like that, because if you drive on bumpy roads, it makes it a lot smoother. But yeah, it's a bit disappointing to see how bumpy the roads were. And I know this car probably has slightly different suspension for the US market to accommodate for bumpier roads. So it is a bit surprising that you still feel those bumps pretty significantly in this type of car. One other thing I noticed yesterday and today driving around these more rural areas are these metal animal prevention grates. So I'm pulling up to one here, you can kind of see it. And you drive over it because this keeps wildlife out of this area. So that's pretty unique. I haven't really seen that before, but pretty cool that they have that. So Las Vegas is super impressive. Nevada is really interesting, really big, spacious. You really see how this place is built for the car. Huge, huge roads. I mean, roads that are, let's say, normal roads that are the width of, you know, major European highways with speed limits of 55, 60 miles an hour, which is, you know, about 100 kilometers an hour. I mean, just look at this road. This is just a normal road, you know, with houses on one side, you know, businesses on the other. This is a typical American road. Look how massive this intersection is. It is huge. I don't think the camera can properly illustrate it. And this is just one example. The speed limit on this road is, I think, 65 miles an hour or 55 miles an hour, which is crazy. It's like a highway. So, you know, really lots and lots of space, and you kind of see that a lot in the US, so it makes sense why it's a very car-oriented culture. One of the things I'd say about Nevada, just driving around yesterday and today, kind of this Vegas area, but you know, it's a desert, so if you don't like the color green, this is a great place to live. Very brown and orange and red everywhere. It's really different from what I'm used to, both in the Netherlands and even previously from Florida. Really beautiful, actually. It has its own beauty in its own way, but really interesting to see the desert climate. So like I said, driving around here is mostly same as Florida and kind of any other state, but what I have noticed driving around here, some differences and some, let's say, European type of influences that I've seen on the roads here. So one thing is I've seen a lot of roundabouts. So in the areas that I was driving around yesterday, again, kind of further outside of Vegas, I saw a lot of roundabouts. You can see some examples here. That was kind of refreshing and pleasant to see. Of course, I'm a big fan of roundabouts. They're much more efficient than a four-way stop. So it was really cool to see, you know, the use of roundabouts, and it seems like they're putting more and more around. So it's been really interesting to see the use of roundabouts, and I think it's kind of positive to see that traffic engineers are kind of recognizing the benefits and starting to incorporate roundabouts, getting people used to them, even in big, spacious areas like Nevada, where it's really wide and big roads. Roundabouts still work. The next surprising thing that I found that was a bit reminiscent of European highways was Interstate 15 around Las Vegas has digital signboards over the highway. That's, you know, pretty typical, but what they're using these for is similar to how they're used in Europe. So what you can see here is they're showing the speed limit for each lane, and what I saw other times driving around this area was when there's a caution advisory, they can adjust the speed limits per lane, which is exactly what happens on European highways. And in addition, they also show, you know, the lanes being open. You know, I also saw where they were warning you that, hey, this lane is closed, there's an accident, or take caution because there's additional traffic. Really, really cool to see that being used. I think everywhere should be using that here. That system is super helpful, and I think the way that they did it here on Interstate 15, really modern, really beautiful, full digital sign that they can basically project anything on. So I would really like to see more highways in the United States start using that. Maybe in Florida they start using it. Maybe they use it elsewhere already. Let me know in the comments below if you know. But really cool to see that, and again, kind of reminds me of European highways and helping with traffic efficiency and kind of using the road in a smarter way. So the last thing I'll mention about what I've noticed driving around Las Vegas and Nevada is the license plate situation. So let me explain a little bit. Nevada officially requires front and rear license plates, except if a vehicle wasn't designed to carry a front license plate. Now that's kind of vague and open for interpretation, and I've seen many vehicles that, you know, either have both front and rear license plates. Some don't have a front license plate, but I'll have a rear Nevada license plate. Some have a front license plate holder and no front license plate and a rear Nevada license plate. So it's a bit all over the map here. Now, if you're not aware, in the United States in Canada, it's a bit inconsistent about whether front license plates are required on vehicles or not. So for example, Florida doesn't require, or doesn't even have front license plates. A number of other states but also don't have front license plates. But for example, New York, New Jersey, they have front license plates. So the vehicles are required to display license plates on both the front and rear. Now, like I said, Nevada officially requires it, but it's inconsistent whether people have it or not, and apparently it's not illegal. Personally, I like the cleaner look of no front license plate, especially the way that American and North American license plates are designed. They don't really complement the vehicle's looks. You know, wider European license plates look better on the front, so I don't mind those. But yeah, a bit inconsistent with the front license plate situation. Now it gets even weirder, because what I've noticed around, and I'm not talking just one or two cars, but many cars without any license plates. Like nothing. You can see here some examples, not even a temporary license plate, not even a piece of paper, nothing. So I looked this up, and there's varying reasons, varying theories behind this. The first being that when you have a private sale of a vehicle in Nevada, you have 30 days to license it. So apparently, you know, you can drive around without any license plates at all for up to 30 days officially. There's some paperwork you have to carry in the car. And then there's other things online that I've seen about, you know, the legality of not having license plates. Technically, it's not legal, but I'm telling you, I've seen more than a dozen vehicles here that have had no license plates at all. And it's a bit concerning, because if anything happens, there's no way to easily identify that vehicle. And if a driver doesn't stop for whatever reason, you have no idea except for a description about a vehicle. No license plates at all. Completely crazy to me. Let me know in the comments below what you think, because I think this is just bizarre. I've heard the same thing happened in California, but now California has temporary license plates. Yeah, it's a bit strange to see vehicles driving around on public roads without any license plates at all, not on a test drive, nothing like that. So that kind of wraps up, you know, driving this week here in Las Vegas and Nevada. You know, I won't recap all of the points I mentioned about driving in Florida and, you know, some of the things that I don't like, you know, when I come back to the States. The same things apply here. No lane discipline, you know, no proper driver education, vehicles on the road that are kind of falling apart. I've seen the same thing here. I imagine around the States, you know, around the entire country, that also happens. Yep, Nevada's no different, but it's been a fun week. It's been a great week driving around, a BMW 3 Series on American streets. But yeah, very interesting driving around Nevada, driving around Las Vegas. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Have you been to Las Vegas? What do you think about it? Is it, you know, I think of it as like Disney World for adults. It's just crazy. Let me know what you think in the comments below about Las Vegas, about Nevada. If you have any questions about driving around here, let me know in the comments as well. And until the next time, thanks so much for watching. Look at how wide and straight this road is. I mean, this is why I wish the US could have Autobahn style speed limits. I mean, dead straight, wide. If people had better driving discipline, we could have this be an Autobahn. This would be amazing. I mean, I can do, you know, 100 miles per hour on this easily without an issue. But unfortunately, that's not the case.